Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. That's not better. I thought my background might be all right, but it's a mess. Anyway, unfortunately, I did not bring my. I mean, one reason.
Hmm.
Take me back to before the noon. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game. Signed up for the hall of shame. I wish I knew.
Okay, that's
We play our roles and ignore the problems. I like to be away in my patience. Stay up, I feel so outdated. How can we look the other way? Sun is out, but the sky is gray.
All right, so just give me a second here. I guess for the news this past 2 weeks, I mean, there's basically only one major piece of news that everybody knows about, and we
right.
wanted to try and keep this community call a little bit more positive, but it's a little hard. Everyone's having a kind of a rough time. I think yeah, everyone that really FTX situation came out of left field. No one expected that one.
Hmm.
Uh, hope everyone is okay.
Do you want to introduce everyone because it's
Oh,
really crowded today? There are a lot of guests today. It's a really special venue.
yeah, we should. All right. Let's see
Tarek
here.
is
I
running
can't actually
around.
see everybody. Holy moly. All
You can? What do
right.
you
So,
mean?
yeah, another new thing today. We are testing out. No, I mean, I can see it now. I just had to adjust the setting. Yeah. So, if you can see today, we are hosting our community call in Gather Town, which is something we've been using for a while, but we never used it to host our community call. And we've actually got an entirely new office setup that's we've just been testing out in the last little while. So yeah, as you can see on the call, we have a ton of people in addition to our regular guests. So I'll just introduce the regular guests for now. We've got with us, as usual, Leonie. Hey, Leonie, how are you doing?
Haley, I'm doing good. I just checked the YouTube comments and Noobman says no sound.
Yeah, in the beginning, I think.
Oh,
Is it
okay.
good now? No, new man? Can you check again? I think it should work now. Forgot to switch.
Okay. Then probably we're all good. Good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great feedback. Thank you, Newman, and thank you, Leonie. And also we've got with us Andrew. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Hey Lee, hey everybody.
All right, and last but not least, we have Hannah. Hey, Hannah, how are you?
Hey, it's been a while.
Great to see you again. Yeah, and we've also got a bunch of Perp evangelists and some of the Perp team members as well. Really great to see you all in the Gather Town. So Gather Town right now is it's like our office, so it's not really open to the public exactly, but we may have some events in the office in the near future. So keep an eye out for that.
Oh, there's a raise
All right.
hand feature I didn't know. Did Tarek
Oh
just
yeah.
raise
Well, I
hand?
think that's been around for a while.
Oh.
Yeah, Tarek, if you raise your hand, you're gonna have to say something. So don't.
And then he left.
All right, just give me a second. I have to open the. Okay, we scared him away.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know if
he's
that was
back.
the goal or if the. Okay. All right, just give me a second here. I'm ashamed to say I didn't open the community call outline. But yeah, for the FTX news, I mean, obviously it's pretty bad, and lots of people. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of community members, and luckily the ones that I talked to seem like they're okay. Had a minor, at most, a minor impact, or they weren't using it at all. Personally, I don't use centralized exchanges for more than the time it takes to make a trade, and obviously that's sort of the recommended practice in the space for people who've been around a little bit longer. I did speak to one community member though who did take a hit, and so yeah, if you're feeling down about it, or you feel like you need someone to talk to who can understand a little bit about what's going on, definitely we're all here for you. Come and talk to us in the community, talk to us in general, send us a DM. We're all here for everybody, and that's sort of one amazing thing about DeFi is it's a community. So when you need somebody, you have the community there for you. So keep that in mind. How about you guys, Andrew, Leone, Hannah? How did you guys survive?
Yeah, I took a hit actually, but I think the most sad part is I feel betrayed because I used to think SBF is better than at least like CZ and Justin Sun, but yeah, I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah, me neither. I agree. It's a shock to everyone, even if you're not financially affected. It's still big news for the industry and kind of trust that eroded. And no one expected it because FTX was so big. And I'm also still afraid what is coming after now with the contagion news you're seeing. So yeah, I think for DeFi it might be an opportunity to shine, as Lee said. It's like a good way to go to avoid something like that. But yeah, really sorry for everyone that's hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely that is, there's sort of a silver lining. That is, it sort of highlights once again the benefits that DeFi can possibly have. I mean, I may be kind of a pessimist in this sense, but I feel like anytime there's, you have a human element involved, then there's that space, there's that opportunity to have people do things you didn't expect or just downright bad behavior. So DeFi takes the human element out of that in terms of the like core operational functionality, and just lets everyone gather around it as a community instead of worrying about the people at the middle, wondering what they're going to do. So for sure, this is a good time for DeFi to shine. And anyway, we'll start the community call, but just to try and end this section on a more of a positive note, like anyone in the chat, if you feel like this is sort of a potential bullish moment for DeFi, then press 1 in the chat. And if you think it's a bearish moment, then press 2. So let's see your 1s and 2s, what you think. I see Andrew's a 1 already. That was quick. I don't know if people can actually see that on the live stream, but
Yeah, they can.
that was good. Awesome. Yeah, so as usual,
Sorry.
well, that's probably a secret. I mean, you can send any emoji you want, and I guess that's a secret, right? Let's see. I'll try and do it too. Here we go.
How to do?
All right.
Oh, it's an emoji. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so moving on, we just obviously a reminder that anything we do discuss is not financial advice. We don't provide financial advice of any kind. Anything we mention is something that you could possibly go and research for yourself. We're not advising you to actually use it. And it's definitely not a promotion or a sponsorship for that thing. And last but not least, I guess we'll mention it probably a couple more times during the call, is we have yet another round of our Perp poker tournaments coming up. Andrew, can you give us a little quick teaser about that?
Yeah, sure. So we have the tournament coming up this Saturday, which is pretty exciting. I've competed in a few, and I'm going to try my best to make it to this one, although from what I understand, it's going to have more team members in it than any other has before. That's what it seems like. Across our team.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
in
be there
general,
too.
Hannah's going to be there definitely. Okay. Hannah hasn't won yet, so
Yeah,
we'll see. That's easy.
All right. Maybe this is your chance. Well, don't tell us too much. Don't tell us too much, because I think we'll have more about this a little later. I just wanted to let people know, like, this is something coming up. So mark your calendars, and we'll mention a couple more times during the call.
I'm just so excited about it.
Can't blame you. Although I guess now that I'm in the Eastern time zone, I could actually join despite not knowing how to play poker at all. But right. All right, so we'll get started with the call. Just share my screen here. All right, so yeah, it's issue 43 of our newsletter for people who are subscribed to that. If you're not subscribed, we would definitely recommend you check it out. It's a great way to get the latest from Perp Protocol, and you would do that via our Twitter account. You can just go to our Twitter page and sign up there. Alrighty, so getting right into it, we have a few product updates. And it sort of centers a bit around the recent events in the last 2 weeks. And yeah, so obviously we mentioned before, like the need for DEXes, and yeah, anytime you have a human element, there's that potential for mistakes, bad behavior, just you have no idea. So really we are super bullish that the future is all about decentralized on-chain exchanges like Perpetual Protocol. So yeah, and we have a bunch of, there's a bunch of mechanisms that improve the protocol and help find bugs, like our bug bounty program. I've been recently working with some great white hats on the bug bounty. So, big shout out to all of our white hats that bring up bugs. Actually, they work really hard on that. So we really appreciate it very much. If you find a bug in our code, or you think there's some way to exploit the protocol, definitely let us know. It's not always an easy process, but we're happy to work through, anyone who comes forward with a bug, and make sure you're compensated via our bug bounty program for that. So yeah, with regards to the FTX situation, we did put out an announcement earlier, I guess it was last week, just to clarify the situation, because actually Alameda was an investor in Perp about 2.5 years ago. So luckily, that's in the rearview mirror, and any tokens that were given to them, that were owed to them, have long since been vested, and we don't really know how much they have, but it's our guess is it's not very much. So exposure on that side should be pretty limited. And in terms of using their services, like for lending and borrowing and so on, we the protocol was not using any of that from either of those two entities or any entities associated with them, like in the sort of downstream of them. So in that sense, we are pretty lucky that the protocol survived without effects in that regard. And it's definitely a lesson, sometimes it's tempting to interoperate with more centralized services. Can really give your protocol a boost. And obviously, any kind of boost, any kind of edge is something that people want. But in this case, it's a wake-up call. So slow and steady tends to be the better strategy. And that's the one we're going with so far. So another sort of, it could be sort of indirectly related, which is the FRAX collateral deposits being paused. The decision was taken because the amount of FRAX liquidity available on Optimism itself was reduced. So we're worried about some price volatility, as well as the a more limited ability to do collateral liquidations if necessary. Those have been paused temporarily. It's likely that we do resume FRAX collateral option once FRAX liquidity improves on mostly on Uniswap, Optimism Uniswap. So we're monitoring the situation for that, and we'll revisit that decision in the future. But for now, FRAX collateral has been paused. Luckily, I think not too many people are using it, so it shouldn't affect many users, if any, really. Mm-hmm. But if you were a FRAX fan or you have thoughts or questions about this, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So going forward with our product roadmap, obviously, the last little while has brought a lot of lessons. So we probably will make some little tweaks, in our strategy going forward. But really, I think the biggest thing, and the thing that we're working really hard on right now, is getting ready for fee sharing. So obviously, this is like probably the number one most hotly anticipated feature since the very launch of our protocol back in 2020. So finally, this is really, it's just over the horizon, and the team is working hard to get the various components that surround that up to production readiness. And sort of the main thing would be the open interest dashboard that the team is working on. So a key element of the fee sharing is the ratio between the open interest and the insurance fund. And the insurance fund, as if you were, joining in our community, heard some news that we will updates in the way the protocol works so that the insurance fund is easier to account for on chain. So the next step would be the open interest side of that ratio. And the team has been working really hard on that. It's a little complicated, actually. Like, it sounds like, open interest, like how hard could that be to calculate? But on Perpetual Protocol, because we have takers and makers being the LPs, that data is sort of mixed together a little bit and makes it a little bit hard to tease out the exact numbers. So the team's been working hard on that, and but it's looking good. Should be ready soon. So and the next, we can't really give a date at this time, since both of the open interest number and the insurance fund number are fluid. We don't know. We can't really predict the growth or decline in either of them with any accuracy. So, but it's looking good for the next month or two. We should be starting fee sharing. So that's super exciting. And as mentioned in the newsletter, if you want to sort of get the, an early start on the fee sharing, you can check out Lazy River, which is our VE Perp staking system, which once the USDC fee sharing starts, that will be the system that is used to distribute those fees. So go and check that out, and you can get a head start. All right, moving on to marketing and partnerships. The next thing we have up is DeFi Education. Leonie, can you lead us into this?
It kind of links back to what we were saying, that the recent news is highlights why we need decentralization. But we think there's a reason why people use DEXes that much or centralized exchanges that much, and that is it's easier to onboard for new users. So we want to focus on providing education for decentralized finance and using decentralized exchanges. One example being Perpetual Protocol, but also we want to highlight other protocols or how you can self-custody your assets. So we're working on an article for that, which is coming up soon. And just in general, we'd like to provide content that is helpful. So just let us know what you'd like to see. Don't hesitate to comment in the chat or join us in Discord and let us know what kind of content you want.
Yeah, awesome. So community feedback here really is pretty key. Like, we do our best to research different topics, but there's obviously a limit to what we can really know about. And as everybody knows, the DeFi space is so big and diverse, it's hard to keep up, even for a team of people. So if you know something that we seem to be ignoring and that you think is pretty cool, definitely let us know. We'd love to check it out. So we mentioned earlier, Andrew was telling us about the Perp Poker event coming up. Andrew, do you want to give us a couple more details about that?
Yeah. So the specific date is going to be this Saturday, the 19th. It's going to be at 2 p.m. UTC. There is no buy-in, although you can win prizes if you finish, I believe, in the top 4. You'll be registering through your Discord ID right here on the newsletter. You can see a place where you can register. You can also hop into our Discord channel and you'll be able to register through there. The past events have been super fun. We've seen a number of different winners, so no one specific can be declared a poker master quite yet, but we've definitely seen some high skill players. Hannah continues to search for her first victory. So
Yes.
maybe if it's not good, this could be your chance to give her a better opportunity to win.
Yeah. I think people might think because there's no buy-in, so everyone would just all in. But actually, I think most of the people care about it. So it's not like everyone just all in and finish real quick. So
Yeah, no, I mean
it's very
the ones I've
competitive.
played in have gone to the end. Multiple tables, competitive games, some nice play. So I expect it to be pretty high quality once again this week.
Looking forward to that.
That sounds cool. So everybody, please come and give Hannah her first win, okay?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Let me win, please.
Sounds good. And I see it's at 2 p.m. UTC, which in the time zone I am is like, I think 10 a.m. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it. I think I got something going on that on the weekend.
Do you even play poker? I thought you don't.
I do not, yeah. So I would, if I go, it's just to support Hannah's.
Oh, okay,
win.
nice.
Yeah.
Just give me more chips.
I think you can also watch and be kind of like a spectator.
All right.
But every time we talk about it during the community call, I'm like, oh, I really need to learn how to play poker because I want to participate.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity.
Join because it should guide you how to do it, like, or you can just randomly call and raise. Just you don't need to learn. That's how I win.
I was gonna say that's some very suspect advice, Hannah, but okay. Now at least we know why.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep things moving along here. So the next thing we want to talk about is crypto and carry, and I guess just based on the name, some of you should have an idea of what this is. But Andrew, can you give us some details?
Yeah, so this is one of our newer partners. They have created a very exciting dashboard, which is right in line with bear market type activities that you can take to still find a profit in this market. And so the specific one I want to highlight is they have this really cool funding rate arbitrage dashboard. Funding rates are DeFi specific tools to help keep prices in line, but you can hop right on. Basically put in how much USDC you want to invest, and it'll be very specific in terms of what trade that you should make in order to receive a given percent of return over the course of, as well as an APR. So I'm looking at one right now. If you put in 1,000 USDC, it recommends you take a long on OKX and you short ETH on Perp, and you'll see a nice 20% APR from doing trades like that. So it's really cool. I highly recommend checking it out if you're looking for different ways, different advanced maneuvers to trade with. This is a really exciting group.
Awesome. That sounds pretty cool. Although there's probably some people in the audience thinking like, hey, I thought you guys were saying, don't use centralized exchanges. So obviously, this is still a game that's worth playing for some people. I think the key thing to keep in mind is like, don't use more funds than you can afford to lose. So, if you're looking for a 20% APR and you only want to use the centralized exchange, this is my opinion, of course, only use the centralized exchange over the long term with funds that you can afford to lose. So, if it blows up, that's not going to be the end of it for you. Put in, a small percentage of the funds you have available, and just sort of spread things out in a, keep your risk basket a little bit broader.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, it's one of the sort of rules of crypto in general is don't invest more than you can afford to lose. So that goes for central.
And don't overdo with the risk.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moving on to a pretty interesting thing that has been going on now for nearly 2 years, actually. And finally, we're seeing some pretty interesting results. So, Leonie, can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, Atlantis World is another project we're partnering with. And we do have a headquarters now in their metaverse. So Atlantis World is a metaverse which has different DeFi protocols integrated. And one of them is now Perpetual Protocol. So you can go to their metaverse and you have the full functionality of trading and providing liquidity, but you can do that all in-game. So for some people that might be maybe more fun to do it that way. And there's a special event happening tomorrow, which is the opening of our headquarters. I think it's going to take place at 1 p.m. UTC. And one team member of us, Lawrence, is going to join and be there with the guys from Atlantis World. So join if you're interested in that one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to try and join as well. So looking forward to that. I was actually just wandering around Atlantis World before the community call today, and I was unable to find the Perp headquarters. I wandered all over, but I couldn't find it. But our team member, Lawrence, said it is there. It's just not so easy to find. So tomorrow will be a great opportunity to, I'm guessing, have a hand in finding it. Yeah, so everyone come and join. Should be pretty interesting.
The search for the HQ is going to start 30 minutes before the actual unveiling of the HQ.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm joking, Anna. I'm joking. I hope that it'll be easy to find for the unveiling.
I mean, we can all come together on like Discord and help each other find the headquarters.
How hard is that?
Well, I mean, Atlantis not supposed to be easy to find. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So that's pretty cool, and looking forward to that. So anybody who's looking for something fun to do tomorrow at 1 p.m. UTC, is that right? Yeah. Come on down and join. It's I think it's alpha.atlantis.world, but you can check out the tweet or come to our Discord for the link, and we'll see you there. All right, so moving on to team and ecosystem updates. Sort of major thing, although it's not super exciting or sexy, that happened in the last 2 weeks is our governance process revamp vote finally passed. So that's pretty good news, I would say. It formalizes our voting process, and at the beginning, early days, voting was pretty unconventional. We didn't have too many, votes that there's a lot of discussion or controversy around. So as things have progressed, obviously the things we're voting on have become more sophisticated, and the topics have become a little more contentious in some instances. So it was time to build that process up a little bit and have a more formalized way of going about it, more formalized procedure. So that has been passed. And if you didn't if you're curious about it, you didn't see the news beforehand, then you can check it out on our governance forum. I think it should be easy to find there. If not, you can just search this governance process revamp on the governance forum. That's gov.perp.fi, and have a look. And obviously, it's not set in stone. Like if there's issues with the process, or you have ideas for updating it, making it even better, we can have further votes in the future to update that once again. But I think this should probably keep us, at least my feeling is this should keep us for the next, at least, maybe the next year. Obviously, things in DeFi do change very quickly. Yeah, so a year is a long time, but I'm pretty confident that our new update is, it'll carry us for a little while. All right, and we're just about at the end here. But we have, as usual, our grants update from Andrew. What can you tell us, Andrew?
Yeah, so if you're not aware, we do have a very successful grants program at Perpetual Protocol. So if you are someone who's a builder, or perhaps already put together a team, or maybe you just have a really good idea that you're looking to bring to life, a really nice place to start is for applying to a grant. If it can relate to Perpetual Protocol and somehow enhance our platform in any way, we're happy to consider it and fund it. So this past month, we received 5 different grants, and one team we decided to move forward with is RoboVault, which we're very excited about. They will be building an LP vault, so automated LP strategies for retail investors to deposit into on top of our protocol, which we're really excited about because one way to make money in bear markets and bull markets is by finding out and cracking that liquidity code. So we think their strategy is situated to be really successful, and we're excited to see their team build on top of us and hopefully bring that out to users as soon as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really exciting. And yeah, as we always say, or as I always say, the grants program is here if you have some cool idea. RoboVault may sound like pretty sophisticated, and but the grants aren't only for these kind of bigger, more sophisticated endeavors. We've also got some interesting grants that were given to smaller builders, even like a one person builder. And yeah, so if you have a cool idea and you would like to get some funds to build it, definitely let us know. All right, last but not least, we have our further readings section. Leonie, can you walk us through this briefly?
Yeah, so the first one we published was the data deep dive on the state of Ethereum now after the merge happened. So the merge took place in mid-September, which was already 2 months ago. And it means that Ethereum transitioned from proof of work to proof of stake. And the article highlights the main changes that we can see now, which is, for example, that block times are less volatile and have settled around 12 seconds for the more technical people. And more tokens have been deposited to the beacon chain and been staked. And what is a new change that has happened, I think last week, is that ETH is now deflationary, which means that less tokens have been issued than burned, which means the supply of ETH is actually going down, making it ultrasound money. So there's this website tracking the supply of ETH that you can check. And the article also talks about the next big change, which is coming up, the surge, where sharding will be introduced. And we will also have an article coming up on that. But yeah, that's basically the data deep dive article that we had. And then we have this recurring series of market reviews. And the last one was for October 2022. And it starts with a news recap covering the main events which happened during October. As always, we have a market snapshot for price and volume stats on the top crypto assets. And then for this one, we also dedicated a small section to the FTX insolvency, or at least what has happened up until November 9th, which was when we published the article, I think. And then also a list of upcoming events that are interesting for traders that you might want to keep in mind. And then last but not least, an article on creating a trading plan. So as we stated before, we want to provide education or articles that are helpful for traders. And as we always say, risk management is super important, especially in volatile times or times like these. You don't want to make emotionally driven decisions or try to revenge trade or stuff like that. So you actually need a trading plan. And the article explains how to set that up to make like thorough and thought through trading decisions to become profitable in the long run, basically.
Yeah, don't revenge trade, guys. That's as fun as it sounds. All right. Okay, so that wraps up the main portion of our community call. So we'll get into a Q&A section. We do not have Houston joining us today, but that does not mean there's no NFT available. There is an NFT. Is that right, Hannah?
Yes. So it's the same as last time. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat right now. Let me see. So you see a Google form link. If you click on that, you will see a galaxy.com link, which is a link for you to claim the NFT. And you don't need to be on the whitelist, but there's a time limit, so you have to claim that in 1 hour. 1 or 2 hours? Yeah, anyway, so there's a time limit, so make sure you claim it as soon as possible.
All right, thank you, Hannah. So anyone who's interested in the NFT, go get it. This is the time. Although 1 hour is a pretty decent amount of time, so should be enough for everybody. So do we have any questions in the chat yet?
Let's see. Do we have 3 arrows as our investors?
Great question. I believe the answer is yes. We did.
Wow.
All the investors, yeah.
3 arrows, Alameda and Multicoin. Okay.
Yeah, well, we had a bunch of different investors. We had a bunch of different investors, and even beyond the ones that Hannah mentioned. You can see the list, I believe, on our website. But I would say sort of the sort of better part of this is that investment occurred in 2020, and any responsibilities were tied up by the end of 2021. So that's well in the rearview mirror for us, and happily. So we're pretty. I mean, definitely there's some investors that have been very helpful and continue to help us and provide advice and so on. So we thank them very much, and we continue to work with them. But in terms of just investor obligations, that's all taken care of, and we are more independent now. Yeah. And there's no further unlocks of tokens or anything like that coming up. Sorry, Hannah, go ahead.
I think I remember Multicoin has some exposure to FTX, like 10% of their funds, something like that. Yeah, but it's nothing to do with us. Oh, and why Not Smart also want us to explain the current financial situation. Right.
I assume he's talking about Perp, perpetual. I mean, there's
Foundation or DAO.
Right. So Perpetual Protocol has the Perpetual DAO, which manages the Perp token treasury. And also, once USDC fee sharing starts, in theory, the Perpetual DAO will also receive some USDC fee income from trading fees. However, actually, that just a little side note, the amount of fees that will go to the Perpetual DAO treasury from the exchange is yet to be confirmed. We had a vote on that, but it did not pass the quorum. back about 6 months or more ago. So we have to hold that vote again. And that actually probably should be coming up pretty soon, since fee sharing is due to start soon. So
we'll have to use the new governance process for that vote.
Yes, we will. Yeah, so that'll be a good exercise. So yeah, as it stands right now, before fee sharing starts, the perpetual DAO itself does not really have any income. It just manages the treasury of Perp tokens. And the foundation itself, I mean, just previously we mentioned investors. So the Perp Foundation operates on funds provided by those investors back in 2020. And also there was a liquidity bootstrapping event on Balancer that provided some funds as well. So the foundation operates on those funds. And we were not really very affected by the FTX situation. I think a bigger effect was probably back, in when we had that sort of market downturn earlier in the year. But at that time, we did a couple of small restructuring actions, and that put us on a path to be pretty well set for, I think at that time it was about 2 years. So now we'd be looking at more like something like 18 months or so. So the team itself is funded for at least that long. And the goal would be that, by that time, either fee income from the exchange would be sufficient to allow the team. I mean, there are team tokens as well that can be staked and used to earn fees once USDC fee sharing has launched. And also we anticipate, within that time frame, we'll probably be back in a bull market. That has been the cycle period in the past. Obviously, past performance doesn't really tell us anything about the future, but we're confident. And I mean, yeah, that's for us. Obviously, not financial advice, but I mean, a bull market, it does make sense for it to return at some point. So we will see.
Yeah, I think he's more curious about whether if we get affected by FTX. Luckily, we don't. Some of our team members, personally, including me, got hit a little bit. But for the project, luckily, no exposure.
Yeah, that was definitely a difficult week and a bit for everybody. But yeah, for the protocol, we've come through it pretty much unscathed, so that's good. Any further questions? We've actually got a few questions that we've gathered from the community previously that we can go through as well. But if there's any questions from the chat, then let's go for those first. All right, if there's no, I'm not actually able to see the questions at this moment, but
it looks like we have another question from Brett Coleman.
Okay.
How long the OP rewards will last for LPs?
For OP rewards, I forget the exact number.
Right now, it's like 20 months.
Andrew.
Yeah, if we continue with our plan that we have right now, it's 20 months. But obviously, throughout that, we have the opportunity to change distributions and such. But for the foreseeable future, we will be keeping it as is. So 20 months.
Nice. Yeah, that's almost 2 years. So great runway. Obviously, if people have ideas, like if you have some, smart idea for liquidity mining, or even a really cool design for some trading rewards of some kind that could, the main goal would be to avoid wash trading or, letting people trade against themselves to earn money. So that's a major issue. Yeah, if you have any ideas, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And great question. That topic hasn't come up for a while, so it's good to get an update. Thanks, Andrew. I'm just looking at the questions we had prepared. It turns out that actually I think we've answered them all by now.
Soles, do you want to just turn on the mic to ask the question? You asked the question in the chat.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. What were the main difficulties gathering the kind of open interest data you mentioned? You're working on a dashboard?
Yeah, so we want to have a place where people can see the data, and I'm not exactly sure the details of what the dashboard will provide, but it'll at least let you see the open interest and get a couple of basic stats. But the main difficulty is, like I mentioned earlier, because we have takers and makers, and we don't want to count those like LP positions as part of the open interest. It's hard to. It's not trivial to keep those separate in a sort of auditable and reliable way. So a lot of the work that's been done has been just figuring out a way to keep those separate. I'm not exactly sure of the details behind it, but yeah, I mean, absolutely welcome to ask in our Discord. Like, it's a fairly important topic, I would say. So yeah, I'd be happy to get more information about that if you want.
Cool, that cleared it up. Yeah, that makes total sense with the LPs. Awesome. Cool.
And Noobman on YouTube asks, don't we have some kind of trading competition to have more users engagement? Wow, everyone loves trading competition.
I think there's
Yeah, we actually. Oh, go ahead, Leonie. Sorry.
alpha we can share here that we have some campaigns coming up together with a partner that we'll announce in the coming days. And we will also have something for the holidays. So yeah, just stay tuned.
Well, that's exciting. I didn't even know about that. So yeah, looking forward to that. And the community team has also been talking about trading competitions. Like, we don't have a specific plan or idea at this moment, but it's definitely something we've been talking about. And it's been a while. I mean, we haven't had a trading competition for almost a year. So yeah, it might be time to try that out. We're hoping to have something, like, my personal idea is to have something a little bit more like ongoing, where we can have like a weekly leaderboard or something where you can, it's not just like a one-off type of thing. It'll be more like an ongoing thing that I think it'll be more fun to have people engaging in a long-term way. So we'll see. And as always, like, if you have some cool idea, that, yeah, actually, maybe the first competition we could have is the competition for the design of the trading competition. And if your design is used, then you can win a prize, something like that. So who knows? That could be something that the community team does as well. Guess we can give a couple more minutes for asking questions. Welcome to put your question in the YouTube chat, or you can ask it directly in the general chat on Discord as well. I'm looking at that. So I guess there has been a question recently about our Dune dashboard. If you check our Dune dashboard once in a while, you may have noticed that the data seems to have stopped flowing, and I've opened a query with our data guy, and hopefully we can get that fixed. Sometimes Dune does kind of fall out of sync for reasons unknown. Luckily, it's not mission critical, just provides some interesting data, but we are working on that. Both community members reported that, so thanks a lot for that.
Okay. All right, I don't see any new questions. So
Alrighty. Well, yeah, we're coming up to getting close to the hour mark. So yeah, let's maybe call it a day or call it an evening, depending on where we are. And we'll see you all next time. Although, yeah, just keep in mind, look out for. There's a couple of things to look out for. One is that Atlantis World thing tomorrow. Definitely hope to see you for that. And then on the weekend, we've got the poker tournament. So if you're a poker player, or you're just curious about poker, or you just want to have some sort of light degen fun on the weekend with no risk, no financial risk, maybe just reputational risk, definitely join us for that. And finally, yeah, I mean, this is our first call on GatherTown. I think it went pretty well. I definitely had fun. And as we mentioned earlier, there will be an extra special one for the community call in 2 weeks. So
Yes.
definitely make sure to be around for that.
Okay.
All right. Great to see everybody. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
All right, we are offline.